All right, Sagittarius, I am amazingly happy to see you guys today. Can I tell you how great it is to be live with all of you? It's been a crazy morning this morning, so thank you for being patient. As many of you know, there's been on multiple social media channels. It happened here on YouTube, it happened on Instagram now, and it's been on Facebook. There's been people that sometimes impersonate me. So I had to take a few moments this morning and report that and deal with things. So that's why I'm a couple minutes late. And I didn't want to rush your messages, so I decided to just start a couple of minutes past the hour. So thanks for being patient. We'll talk a little bit more about all of that in just a second. But first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and we're going to be looking at Sagittarius. The way that I work is that I'm an intuitive channeler, clairvoyant, and also a tarot reader. So I'm going to combine all of these together. I actually see an old friend of mine from yoga, Elizabeth, here in chat. So I'm also a yogi, and what I do at the end is meditation. So I try to put all of those different elements together in this reading. So I kind of think it's a unique thing here, and I hope you enjoy it. Let me put down Apollo so we can talk a little bit more about what's in store today. I put the readings in four major parts. I like to begin with basically everything that I receive from Spirit. Today, I'm going to be channeling some of it live because I really wanted to make sure that I was starting right on time. So I might even scribble some messages live as I look at my phone where I have the notes that I got from dreams and in meditations. But we'll start with the channeled messages on the table in front of me. And after that, I will look at the cards and we'll go a little bit deeper into the opportunities. The cards are a great way to tap into also like in the flow. Anyone that just showed up, I can also kind of get some energy from you. And that's kind of how I work, by the way. Even though this is for Sagittarius, Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus, etc. Because I'm intuitive, because I'm clairvoyant, if you show up, especially to the beginning portions, there's always a message for someone. So you're welcome to come to every single video that I do, always. And then the center and latter portions really are more sign focused. So again, we'll start with channeled. We'll go into the Celtic Cross. Then I look at the expanded forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. That way, Celtic Cross can again focus on what on a soul level you really need to hear and see. But then health, wealth, love, destiny, these are all things that we care about. So I make sure I highlight those. And after we do a little mini review, I will then look at the soul path. And in every single reading, there seems to be one or two things that I'm more curious about, and I'm sure you are. So we will take a look at that. Yeah, if you just joined late, you're right on time today because I started a little late, so welcome. And then we'll meditate, and I really like the meditation. And today we'll maybe do a couple extra minutes because I know I need it. Like I said, sometimes it's really great to be here. Just to be here with you guys and to be in the energy that we're all sharing. So that was one of the things that I loved when I was practicing yoga more frequently or going through the teacher training, was just the sort of energetic vibe that we could all be in. So that's why you're always welcome to come to my readings, okay? I just want to really underline that. So let's talk a little bit about your spirit totem today. And let me just put on my do not disturb so I don't see notifications here. Your spirit totem today made me laugh, and I needed that. Thank you so much, Sagittarius. Even the picture that I kind of chose here. So the camel came through for you guys, and that made me smile a lot. The camel is an interesting animal, odd looking, but has a lot of strength and a lot of really cool things that we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it, okay? If you're brand new, I always go to nature for the very beginning message because typically in my dreams, I will see an animal or I will just kind of pick it up as I'm starting to do the writing, but today it was in the dreams. What I liked first about the camel was its ability to adapt. You know, this is something that can thrive in a desert. You know, it stores all the water in that hump on its back, or two of them or whatever, but it basically has this ability to go days without water and work in a place where other things cannot. And I love that. And this is telling me that you have this sort of survival instinct that will kick in. You always do. And Sagittarius can be a stubborn sign. I like that about it. I think that, you know, there's this sort of innate ability to push through things. So lean on that. That is a great thing. My moon is in Taurus, and I feel like there's a little bit of a similar energy with that too. So whatever it takes to push through something, you've got it. So again, you can thrive even during challenging times. This is something really important and also great to have right now. Well, we're still in the pandemic, so mid-pandemic, I should say. We have this ability now to kind of like tap into this, or you do rather. So I want you to kind of look at things from a different angle and think like, how can I thrive right now? What could I do that will allow me to feel better, to try different things? You're not stuck. The resourceful card, the resourceful message here is important because what I was thinking of was Six of Pentacles in my head. Just in case you can't conjure up the image, there's a picture of a guy or a woman kind of holding scales and has some coin. Also, with another hand, they have coins and they're deciding who to give what to. And the message here is you may not have everything that you want, but you have everything that you need. And the need piece is also need to be successful. So you are a manifester, and if you're looking for more resources, if you're looking for more ideas, basically you have things around you that you can tap into, and then it really boils down to choices. One of the choices may be delegation, right? When to say yes and when to say no. Sometimes I focus on the no, but the yes is more powerful. So you could say yes to the things that you truly care about, that truly inspire you, that are truly giving you an energetic return on investment. In finance, we always hear about ROI, return on investment, but there's the same sort of things energetically. If you're constantly putting, your heart and soul into something, but it feels like nothing's coming back from the other side, whether that's a job, a relationship, or some other aspect of your life where you're hoping to see growth, this is really saying, all right, I don't have to do that. I don't have to shoulder the entire burden here. And let me see if I wrote that down. Yeah, I did. Yeah, you don't have to shoulder the entire burden. I mention that because camels, just like horses, are often a beast of burden. So what we're seeing here is you can do it, but just because you can do it doesn't mean you have to. So this would be like the Seven of Wands, where you see the person pushing back. That's the yes, no. That and the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is a decision. And then the Seven of Wands is like, yeah, I don't think so, or I don't need to do all of this. So as you get kind of more comfortable in your skin, the older you get, the more confident you get, the more you realize you don't have to please everybody. In fact, it's advantageous sometimes to do what's right, even if it's not popular, because opinions sway and change over time. And it's really more based on your success and your kind of alignment to your soul path, right? So camel is really, really strong. The other thing, I mentioned this earlier, is that it is stubborn. And one of the things that I was seeing last night in my dreams, which was welcome because it's been a crazy couple days here, was laughter. And laughter as also kind of a way to break the ice, which we'll talk about. So if you can laugh, not at yourself, but have a sense of humor about situations that are going on, I think it's going to be really helpful in figuring out what to do next. I'm going to write a message in real time because, again, I want it to be on time. But the other one that was coming to me was kind of like getting past this hill. It's like getting over the hump, right, on the camel's back. So this is really about pushing through, pushing over the hill. So if you think of the 10 of Wands, there's different ways that card can be illustrated. Sometimes you see a person heading up the hill. Sometimes they're going down it. Why don't we visualize that you're right at the top? So take a moment to pause is what I'm going to say. Take a moment and really get a feeling for where you are. So get your bearings. Get a sense of where you are and where you want to be. Because the want to be piece is so important. This is really the Two of Pentacles, the dreaming, the envisioning, that vision work that is so important to manifestation. So it's a little messy because I'm writing fast, but take a moment and get a sense of where you are. And I'm going to underline where you want to be. Because if you don't know where you're going, then it's really hard for the universe to be able to kind of step in and line up all of those dominoes that are going to allow for something to happen. So thanks for being patient. A couple times here, I'm going to have to scribble in real time. I think it's kind of fun. So just work with me on this because this is what I normally do about an hour and a half beforehand, but I only had 45 minutes today. So, okay. The next piece. This is really interesting because you can take this in a couple of different, interpretations. For those of you that are working in a company and have the ability to affect how the company is structured. So this would be for leaders. And I'm sure I have some out there that are leading something, whether it's your own company or you are like a higher up in the company. The message that I got was promote from within. I actually saw in real time in my mind a promotion happen externally, and they made poor decisions, and the internal team was sitting there thinking, why? Because there were clear opportunities to promote from within. In a family situation, this can actually be something different. There could be a chance to, especially if there's like a matriarch or patriarch of the family, to allow someone in the family to kind of step into a position, to allow for a child or someone that has kind of been working to prove their worth, to sort of show them, yeah, we trust you. This is your chance to step up. So it doesn't have to be a corporate environment. It could just be a relationship. It could be a family situation. The thing is that the help that you need is probably closer to you than you think. So I'm trying to make that as approachable as I can to the different types of relationships you might have in your life. So definitely in work environments, fight to get that internal kind of promotion and growth and development. In families, same thing. Maybe the one that you need is right there. It's not like going outside of the family to get some advice or help. So, a lot of times I say get a second opinion. This time I say it's right there. Something that you're looking for is like under your nose or within reach. And if you are kind of working solo, this is a good message for you too. It's saying you have exactly what you need, similar to what I talked about here. You might not have everything you want, but you have everything that you need within. So look closer to home for the answer or for that person to lean on, okay? I hope that makes sense. Let's look at the next piece. Okay, so for those of you that feel very sort of king or queen of wands, which is what I was getting when I was thinking of the camel, which was a little stubborn, which was very strong, which could kind of like a manager carry a lot. Sometimes you can kind of have that let's get to business sort of mentality, right? Let's go straight to the point. It will be so helpful this month in particular if you can just take a deep breath and get to know who you're talking to, get to know where they're at. As we were talking about the 10 of Wands, where are they at on their journey? Are they, kind of packing their bags and just getting up to the top? Or are they on the other side and ready for something new? So break the ice. And it needs to be a very organic and relatable breaking of the ice, because one of the things that I remember, this is specifically for people that are in jobs, but I think it could relate to anybody. Sometimes it just seems forced, right? I remember they would make us do certain activities at work, and it was just like, this is this is not it. This is not how you break the ice. We could just chat. We could just chill a little bit. There should be some other ways to do it. So I think one of the key things to do is to just really ask how someone is a couple of times, because the first time they're typically just being polite, and it's almost like the French "ça va, ça va." Yeah, like, what's up? Oh, I'm good. How about you? That actually isn't anything. So instead, you could really say, no, I'm curious, what's going on? How are things with this and this? I'd like to talk a little bit more about something important, but like really check in with them and see where they're at, because you may not know what kind of stress or trauma or insecurities or whatever they're bringing to the table. And if you can kind of get to understand who's behind the curtain, it's going to be a lot more productive. And they're going to like that you listened. When you ask a question, then just hold space, right? And I think that that's spiritually so important, just to allow room for the person to open up. Sometimes just quiet space after asking a question. When you think someone's done, actually, too, this is another tip. When you think they're finished, give them another second or two to see if they want to add on something else, because people have a tendency to want to fill the space. So it's a really nice way to give them more than they're used to. And also it's very revealing. So it'll be good. It'll help you see more just by listening. Release the need to do everything by the books. Have fun first. It's along the same lines. So if you are, this is kind of like the difference between having a vacation and then like having a travel log that you have to go through. So I've traveled with people before that have this itinerary. We're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. And when you're like an hour behind the itinerary, they get stressed, and it kind of, it defeats the purpose of a vacation. I would say deadlines at work can be very similar, because sometimes you're just setting milestones to make sure that you're tracking and making progress. But arbitrary lines in the sand are just that, they're arbitrary. They don't necessarily need to be or have to be. So release the sort of reins on the control a little bit. Let the camel run free and see what happens from that point. Because sometimes especially if you're creative, if you're an artist, if you're a dreamer. It's very hard to put metrics or timing on how the creative process works. Sometimes it happens quickly. You get an epiphany and it just flows out. And then sometimes, you need help and it takes a little longer, or you have to revise it a few times. If you focus on the deadline, especially if you're a writer, a composer, it makes it harder to do it because you're just looking at the clock. Like this morning when I was looking at the clock, I thought, stop it, just give yourself more time and relax. And then I was fine, because you need a certain amount of time to get stuff done. And so everybody needs flexibility, myself included. I think this is the first time in a year and a half that I had to delay it, but you have to do that sometimes. So ask for the time if you need it. And if someone in your life is arbitrarily just focusing on this point, they're actually not looking at the work product or looking at the exchange between you. They're looking at something they want. And that's actually a barrier or a block. And hopefully that makes sense for you, and you'll figure out how to kind of work that in. The next thing here is super duper important, and it doesn't matter if you are in a love relationship or a work relationship. We have a lot of relationship stuff that's coming through, but it's really important to have a place to vent. And I saw this sort of in my mind's eye, what looked like a fireside, kind of like camping or something. But I'm mixing metaphors because you guys were like baking cookies instead of s'mores or whatever. But there was this fun sort of energy of a group activity, chilling out a little bit and just talking like a campfire. That's why I sort of call my Instagram things fireside chats. I want to pretend like we're baking s'mores and sharing, ideas and things like that. So if people are going to vent, it should feel welcoming and it should feel safe and it should feel like it's a community. If it's the two of you, if it's a relationship, having that safety, having the feeling that it's just the two of you and this nice warm fire, and you're able to talk and if you've ever remember back in school or something when you had a sleepover with your best friend or talked on the phone, you know how like hours and hours could go by and you think, how did that happen? I had one night where it was like all night long we were talking. So kind of create a space where it feels almost like that we could talk about anything and we can talk as long as we need to. So provide a channel to voice and vent concerns, but just as importantly, listen to the people that are talking. Listening is such an important aspect of communication, and it is so often overlooked because especially now that we're so used to devices, right? We're always looking at notifications, thinking of the next thing, etc. So slow down, breathe a little bit, be present, forget the deadlines, put the clock over so you don't have to see that either, and just really be in the moment. When it comes to making a change, you may be the one that has to go first. You may be the one that is lighting the candle and passing it around. You have to be the first one to share, to make some sort of like a movement happen. So go out on a limb, share an idea or a critique, and others will agree and then start to chime in. They're just afraid. They may lack some of that confidence. And confidence, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, right? You find it in the moment. But I think if you speak from the heart, if you speak constructively, and you share that idea with passion and encouragement, great things can happen. Again, these sort of things can exist in many different situations. It could be that you need to talk to your partner about something that's concerning you. You might have a coworker or a client where there's a difficult conversation that has to happen, and you need to just sort of start the communication. It's going to be especially helpful though in a group where a lot of you feel the same way and there's frustration. It just takes one to kind of open that chain. So if you're willing to step into it, that could actually in the long run show you as a leader, as someone that people can count on to do the right thing. Like I said, even when it's not possible. And then going back into the cookies, I don't know why they were coming through, but they were. You don't want to push something out before it's baked. You only get one chance to really make a great impression. So this boils down to those arbitrary deadlines where a boss, a coworker, someone might be saying, it has to be done by this time, you have to do it now. And if it's not the right thing or you don't want to do it, just say, I am not comfortable with that. We need more time. That's not the right way to move forward on this. Or I don't want to be associated with it if you're going to do that. So find a way to stand up for what matters and to focus on the quality, not the deadline, to focus on holding space, to focus on holding time, and making it work for the right reasons, okay? So there you go. For many of you, I feel like this is a changing of the guard sort of month. And the changing of the guard can be sort of a literal thing where there may be someone new coming in. For those of you that do work in a traditional job, this could be a new manager, a new boss. The changing of the guard can also be a mental sort of thing. It's like we had to change our clocks a few weeks ago. I hope we stop doing that one of these days, but it's a shift. Suddenly everything moves forward a little bit, like a plate tectonic shift too. And so that changing of the guard is going to push you into a new way of doing something. It could also make you feel a little defensive, right? So really try to figure out where and when you need to put up that defense shield. When we were talking yesterday with Scorpio, you can listen to the channel messages if you want to. There was a little bit about making sure that you don't block out the good as well as the bad. So I think that there's a time and a place to be guarded, but then there's also a time and a place to be open and to be able to receive and to think about things. So when I think of that goofy looking camel, which I love because it came through as our totem today, one of the things that I think sometimes is it gets too stubborn. It's like the King or Queen of Wands in reverse, thinking this is the only way. So, or I don't want to do that, or this person, making a prejudgment. Try not to have preconceived ideas. And I think that's going to help you. We're kind of already hitting on this point, but it's a breakthrough and a breakout kind of month, breaking out of old habits and breaking through any sort of blocks that you had. If you give yourself a moment to have that epiphany, or to have that sort of, I talk about a catalyst. We'll look at the catalyst card, especially this month, but something catalytic where things can just kind of push in and then you see action after a while, after stagnation. I think this can be really exciting for you. So as we look at the cards, I'll keep an eye out for that. For those, it doesn't matter if you're artistic or scientific or just trying to become more intuitive, these things will help you. Don't overthink. That's actually the most important thing for intuitives. What you receive is valid. The more you question it, the more you edit it, which is the second piece, the less you are connected to the source. So the source is uncomplicated. It's clear, and you should know it. It just kind of feels good. Be the channel and trust what you're channeling. So don't overthink, don't over-edit, channel and trust. When I do writing, especially when I do all of this, it has to be a first draft. Sometimes I have to write the card again because I run out of room or something, but I receive it and then I write it. And my job here is not to overly analyze it. It's really to report on it and to maybe look at it from a few different angles, but I trust what I receive. And the more you can do that, whether it's, again, if you're an artist or if you're a thinker. I mean, even when we look at someone like Einstein, he was intuitive. He came up with things that, normal people wouldn't if they were trying to be too practical. He was trying to push through the wall a little bit. So be kind of like Einstein in that way of thinking. There has to be like this leap of faith or this intuitive leap. And to that end, your final card here in the channeled messages is a reminder of your divinity, because we lose track of this as mortal beings sometimes. We're actually immortal on the soul level, but we'll talk about that later. You are a divine agent of change and inspiration. But with this inspiration, are you inspired? And if not, then I'm going to put a final card here, which is what inspires you? This is how you can get into your soul path. The most common, well, not the most common question, it's usually relationships, but I would say maybe second or third on the list is like, am I doing my life purpose? Or what is my life's or soul's purpose? So what inspires you? What inspires you, and what are you doing to make something happen in that particular field of interest? Remember back to when you were a kid, because we talked about this already. When you would dream, when you would think about what tomorrow would bring, what would it bring? What did you envision for yourself? This is a great time to kind of get back to that and really do something. Like, work should be fun. And if it's not, it's time to sort of go back into your toolbox and figure out what else can I do and how else can I repackage it. I'm going to show a card that I did yesterday. I have the deck here and I think I can find it pretty quickly. It's the Six of Wands, and yep, that's right there. Okay, because I had to replace this deck. So here we go, Six of Wands. You'll see he actually has this little toolbox right here. And that's something that we all carry with us. So this is necessary for success. It's basically showing me that you have everything that you need. Sometimes you just have to look at the tools and use them differently. Imagine them in a different sort of way, shape, or form. All right, let's get into the reading. Before I do that, just a couple of quick notes. First of all, and this is important because of Instagram. So on Instagram, there's someone that's messaging people trying to get support or whatever. The only way to show support is through a live reading like this. So on Instagram or on YouTube, when I'm live, there are tools that you can use to say thanks. This is one of them. So if you want to say thanks, you can use this little button here and basically show support using super stickers or super chat. And you can also go to my official website, which is nicholasashbaugh.com. And there are other ways there that you can do that. And I will post the link here real quick before I get into the next portion of the reading, or next time I see Dakota do it, I will pin that. But let's go ahead and shuffle the cards and take a look at what's coming through. By the way, I don't answer questions here in real time. This is general. I will keep an eye on chat to see if there is anything that I need to address, but hopefully you receive what you need. Just listen. That was one of our messages today. Okay. Thanks, Dakota, for posting that link. And thanks to both Maria and Dakota for their help today, especially in the chat before I started. That was great that you guys were talking to everybody. Welcome to the new members as well. I see that we have at least one. Membership is another great way to show support, as is liking, subscribing, and commenting. It helps with discoverability. All right, Sagittarius, let's see what's coming through for you. There she is, Queen of Wands reversed. Yeah, I still see people talking about Instagram. Just a reminder, I don't use direct messages. I don't follow back. I basically, if anyone's doing that, just go ahead and report that profile. And thank you so much for your help. And hopefully I'll get that squared away. But let's focus on today's reading. I do appreciate everyone who's here, though, and that should give you just as much of a wonderful feeling. So don't worry about it. This is where you should connect with me, not in direct messages. So, okay, let's take a look at everything that came through and connect it to the month ahead. All right, so we're going to start with your catalyst card. The catalyst is a way for you to connect to the highest possible good, to get out of your own way, something that we all need help with from time to time, and really just to shine. So we have the garden heliotrope, and it says devotion and dreams fulfilled. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. I like that. So the devotion piece comes through super strong for me. As I'm looking at that. And of course, dreams, because that's where I get a lot of information for these readings, in fact. So devoted. What are you really devoted to in your life right now? It could be a path like maybe it's being a mom or dad. Maybe it is creating some sort of a project, creative outlet. Maybe it's changing the world. Maybe you have this sort of activist energy with you. And we talked a little bit about that in Scorpio. And maybe for some of you today, that's something that's coming through. But what truly is your connection to the heart space, passion, right? This is going to be important. That will be your compass rose or your North Star that's going to keep you on the right track. Helio, it's like the sun, right? So the other thing that I would say is kind of bringing in your your strength. And as I say that, I feel a little ping in the solar plexus. So for some of you, your passion may be at odds with what other people want, think, or expect you to do. And so this is really about finding your power and saying, no, the passion and power are connected, and therefore I have to do what I'm guided to do. Okay? Beautiful flower, beautiful message. And remember, it says dreams fulfilled. So if you really commit to something, mind, body, and spirit, then you will be able to fulfill that destiny. So you have to kind of believe it, see it, believe it, and do it. Okay? I had mentioned the King or Queen of Wands in reverse, and we got her smack dab in the center. Again, I like her kind of fiery energy, which is fantastic, especially for you, especially for this month. But the reversal of this sometimes is just saying to stay open, to explore, I like that she's joyful. That was something that I was talking about, not necessarily laughing at yourself, but just laughing is good. It kind of takes you into a place where you're more open. And I think I wish I could remember the singer that composes this way. It was either a singer or a writer. She said that one of the ways that she can get through writer's block is to laugh. So she'll like watch a comedy or listen to something funny because she's off her guard when that happens. And all of a sudden it breaks through. Laughter it's kind of staccato too when you're doing it, depending on what your laugh sounds like. But it breaks through and it kind of gets the energy out. Breathing, for my fellow yogis out there, is the same sort of thing. So you can breathe, you can exercise and sweat, you can drink water to make sure that you're getting the energy through your body, and then you can laugh. Laughter, crying, sweating, exercising, and then again, getting fluids through your body. That's another way. So find a way to move the energy. And that was one of the things that was really important yesterday, and I think it's spilling over into yours as well. Maybe there's some cusp people here, but keep on moving was something that I talked about. I had that image of the moon, and I talked about how the moon doesn't have convection or plate tectonics anymore. So one thing that I think even in your sign that's important is to continue to create momentum, to continue to move. And as long as you're moving, you're living. So keep moving, stay open. The one thing that I love, because she came through reverse for a reason, is that this Queen of Wands can get stuff done. And if there's something important that needs to be accomplished in a certain way, then it's good to be stubborn. So just pick your moments when you really want to hold your ground, and then at other times kind of open up a little bit. Just like Queen of Swords, I think there are times and places to absolutely embrace the reversal. So stand your ground if you need to. Things are going to start to happen pretty quickly. We have the Knight of Swords. Thank goodness, right? So this is the breakthrough or the breakout moment that I was talking about. I love this sort of modern interpretation of the horse there with the motorcycle. What's interesting here to me, if we look at the three different symbols, the motorcycle, it almost feels like he's running to catch up to it, or running because there's something important that he has to do. So I do feel that there's an urgency that will start to step in April for you. There's a feeling that there has to be some things that need to get done. Remember what I said before about the arbitrary nature of that. Just make sure that the timing and the doneness, when we were looking at like the cookies or the cake, that it's done before you rush to sort of like share it with everyone. So that's one thing that I see. The other thing is I'm looking at the bird and I'm looking at the arrows. And it's cool because I was using the, what was the deck the other day? Wildwood. So bows and arrows were wands and swords. So I don't see, I don't see the arrow. I guess it's kind of hidden in there. So my message yesterday were thoughts are like arrows, like where are yours pointed? They're directional. So I feel for this to really work for you, keep your head in the right direction. Make sure that the timing and the doneness are in sort of like on the same page. And then the messaging has to follow suit as well. So timing, completeness, and messaging are going to have to come together. For those of you that are project managers, or for those of you that are trying to get the word out for something or trying to find a job, it's kind of, it's this weird triangle, and you're trying to figure out how to make it all work. So just stay focused, stay aware, and you're going to do a little bit of juggling, but I feel like you can have this, you can make this happen. Knight of Swords is very forward, even though it's just a knight. It is about communication, and this is about sometimes being first. So it's good to be first. It's good to speak up. It's good to take action. This is an overthinker. Don't overthink. When you're ready, take action. I love that we have the Wheel of Fortune in the deep past. So this is going into kind of that toolbox that I was talking about, right? So you have what it takes. You have the worth, the self-worth. So the first thing, and she's in Trikonasa pose, I think, the tree pose. The first thing that I'd like you to think about is, do you see the worth? Do you feel worthy? Do you feel ready? Because if you do, then this wheel, which kind of looks like, I don't know, it feels like a chip in Vegas or something, but this wheel is ready, and the wheel is turning. And what I like about her being on top in that sort of grounded tree pose is she knows exactly what she's doing, where she's going, and how to make it happen. And yes, there's a little bit of luck. There is a sort of gambling energy in this. So you have to take a leap of faith. You have to trust yourself. If there's nothing to lose, there's nothing to win. So take a chance on yourself, right? Take a chance on something that you love. Now I've got the ABBA song in my head, but yeah, give yourself that opportunity to go there, all right? I like this, and it's a really good card to have in the deep past. It tells me that on a karmic level, at the very least, you've done what's necessary for this particular portal, for this particular moment in time. And that, to me, is super exciting. Page of Wands. All right, we're going somewhere now. This is in your recent past, and I like how she's throwing the baton or the wand in the air. It is time to let it go. And I'm also thinking of an Olympian that, like a track and field athlete, particularly in a relay race, where, you know, at a certain point when your part is done, you give it to the next person. That was also right in alignment with what I was seeing with like the family. So it might be time to pass the baton in a business, or it could just be in general. Maybe you've done all you need to do in a certain part of your life, and you just want to find the next person to be the steward of that particular thing. So this is you saying, I'm done, I'm ready, and I want to release it. It can also be a decision to like put a song on Spotify or something. Like when you're ready to deliver it, this is also saying, here we go. Because pages both send and receive. Just remember, listening and speaking, both of them have to happen to be a successful page. But the key thing that I'm seeing with the wands here is the release. And wands usually are a little bit less about the words. They're more about the action. So it feels like it's time to let go, which I like. It's a really great card. It's actually kind of exuberant, very close to the energy again of yesterday, because we had this Five of Cups, but she was dancing. So same position, same sort of energy, but this one doesn't carry any of the sort of tricky issues that the Five of Cups would. This is really just about letting go. I love it. All right, let's go into your crowning position. We have the Hierophant, which is usually a very structured and hierarchical card. What we're seeing here is someone who is not that. They're the antithesis of it. I love all the sort of yoga metaphors in this particular deck, but we see someone here who is laughing a little bit. Again, the laughter is so important. So having a sense of humor, having a sunny outlook, and also realizing that there is a change that needs to happen. And this is being outside of the box. So if you're working in a company, if you're going to school and it's very structured, if you're in a family and they're very conservative or rigid, the Hierophant reverse is you. You're the rebel, right? It's kind of the antithesis of the structure. So the question here is, how and when are you going to align to the structure, and when do you decide to draw outside of the lines? And that'll be the key to success this month. I think it is good to draw outside of the lines sometimes. Otherwise, you're not inventing new things. You're just painting by numbers, right? So sometimes you have to scribble a little bit, push a little bit, mess up a little bit, because in the messiness comes innovation, comes the sort of epiphany that I was talking about, or that breakthrough moment, okay? There's some healing that needs to happen for some of you as I look at near future, and this will be like squarely in the middle of this next six-week period that I'm reading for you. So we have the Three of Swords reversed. I like it reversed, but when we look really closely at this beautiful card, we see for some of you, it feels like you're just getting over something. And there's a test. It's almost like some people are pulling and saying, have you learned your lessons? Or are you sure you're over this? Or how about this? So for some of you, there's just this little test, and maybe you just want to scream or let some of that out. For the rest of you, what this is really a chance to do is to snip these little codependent connections that you might have with people in your life, and truly let your heart heal and be what it's supposed to be. So work through any feelings of disappointment. And sometimes this Three of Swords can just be in our head, in our heart. We get angry about something, right? There's always a choice of, am I going to let this bother me? Is this going to be the summation of my day? Or am I going to move past it and make a decision right here and right now? The rest of the day is going to rock. Maybe this morning didn't, but today, the rest of today, I can control. And that's something that I try to remember and try to live in as a light worker myself is, okay, that happened. Now this, let's see, every moment is a gift. So you can either sit there and hold on to this previous moment, in which case you just missed this one and you're probably going to miss the next one. You're missing opportunities as you hold on to the Three of Swords. So yes, you need to feel it. We need to be in our feels for a moment. So feel what it is that you need to feel, but then take some action like this little baton wielder here and say, all right, enough with that. Now let's work on this. These two, the page and the knight, are getting some stuff done. They're moving towards things. They're letting things go. This is where the real you needs to sort of sit this month, okay? For some of you, it could be a recent breakup. It could be leaving a company. It could be just a disappointment. You could also be beating yourself up. There's so many things that the Three of Swords could be, but the most important thing here is that for you, it's just the release of it. That, to me, it doesn't really matter the interpretation this month as much as it is saying, like, the message to you is just move to the next phase, let it go. And I'll try to help you let it go in the meditation. I'll try to help you let it go as we look at the messages here. Because I never want to be dismissive of emotions, but I do want to highlight what is missed when you hang on to that emotion too much, right? What a great card to come through in the ego. You've got some really great resource and worth cards here. I hope you can feel the self-worth. We have the Ten of Pentacles here, which is almost universally a positive card. Even in reverse, it's very, very good. Four of Wands is similar. What happens when the card is reversed is it's sometimes those resources tagging and pulling and anchoring us down. So, the whole thing here is growth. We have the Tree of Life here. You should be feeling like everything that you're doing is bringing you forward, is helping you grow a little bit. If it isn't, if it is that sort of lopsided investment, or if you feel like the camel and you're just carrying a bunch of people and a bunch of stuff, this is the time to offload that, to sort of stand up tall and say, no more. You need to learn to take care of that. The codependencies are going to be snipped, all those little cords connecting to the heart. And you're going to be able to capitalize. You're like that gigantic ace at the top of the Ten of Pentacles. So I'm excited for you. I like this. So for many of you, there just may be this need to pull out of a group a little bit and stand out, be like the star, right? Or to kind of orbit out on your own. Maybe you're tired of being a planet and you want to be a star. It's your time to shine, right? So go into your own orbit if you need to. Ten of Pentacles can also be a proposal. Love proposal, a work proposal, a contract. Do you like who you're working with? Do you like who you're living with? Do you want that contract? This is really a question mark when it's upside down. That's why this, I can just, in my head, I see a squiggly and this is the little period at the bottom. So is this right for you? Does it feel right? And if it doesn't, or if you're hesitating, or if you even have to ask, you probably should pause on that a little bit, okay? Ultimately, I see growth and opportunity. Make good choices when it comes to which opportunities you go after, and definitely focus on that feeling that I am ready, I am worthy, I am willing to make this sort of happen. I'm ready to receive abundance in all the highest forms. Add that highest form in there, because we don't want to have any sort of weird stuff coming through. It's always good. All this and more in the highest form. I'm very specific now when I manifest to try to go to the higher energy, not to just kind of like noise. So always ask for, the highest, and have the universe surprise you in the highest form. Okay. I like it. You've got another card here that's amazing here. We have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I like that your main card here for resources is a major arcana and it's upright. To me, what I'm seeing here is some things tugging at you a little bit. This represents you. This represents you, and this is the people around you. So they're both family cards. This can be mama. This can be you. It's the universal sort of nurturing card. So I would say divine feminine. So, whether you have two moms or two dads, it's whoever you kind of go to and feel most nurtured by. It could also be an aunt or an uncle if maybe, your family wasn't there the way you wanted them to be. But they're a little demanding, this person, and they may know a lot of what's best, but truly you know what's best for you. The interesting thing with this particular queen, she's got her antenna. We see these little branches coming out, which is a very druid-like symbol for being connected, like antlers. So be careful of anyone in your life that knows how to get under your skin and makes you second guess yourself. It's your turn to be the Queen of Pentacles. It's your turn to nurture, to create, and to see yourself on an even footing as this other person. The way to get past some of the codependencies here is to just see yourself as equal, as deserving, and as capable of whatever it is you want to do. Because when she's upright, the Queen of Pentacles can do anything, basically. She has the sort of Queen of Wands is the magician, like she's magical. She can make things happen even when they shouldn't. This is the resourceful energy. But this is kind of like the incubator energy, where you can then take something and truly love it and heal it. And Apollo's in the other bed here. But when I first got my puppy as a rescue, he would hide under his bed. I could barely get him to drink water. I knew that was the most important thing. But he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't drink for a few days. And he hid all the time. And I'm like, oh my God, did I get a pet that's never going to love me? It was my mom actually who said, no, you got to give him time. And he's going to be okay. She's intuitive as well. And so I just spent time the first night with him. I put a little blanket on the bed and I just sat there and I just hugged the dog. And then he kind of melted into me and he licked me a little bit and then he went to sleep. And that quickly became his safe space. He cannot, even to today, he can't wait to kind of go on the bed because that was our first night together. We just kind of hugged each other and melted. So there's this nurturing energy, and that's divine feminine. Men can do it just like women. And it was in that moment I was just like, I've got you. We're going to be fine. I'm going to bring this out. I can see the potential in you. Now he's, I did the math. I think he's a Taurus and he acts like one. So he gets stubborn and, sometimes he wants to eat, sometimes he doesn't want to eat. Sometimes he wants me to play with him when I'm not ready. But basically I nurtured him so I could eventually see his personality. You can do that for yourself. You can do it for anything in your life. Sometimes you have to take care of it. I have a plant over there that I'm watching for a friend of mine. And it's great to see each day as a new leaf starts to unfurl. And then I'm going to send it to them in a couple months. They're just in a colder climate, so I'm waiting for the weather to warm up. But it's really cool to see something grow. So it's nice with a plant, or it's nice with a child or with a dog when you can see it. Internally, we can't always see it. So my story is basically relevant because you also can do that for your inner child. If there's a part of you that your mom, dad, or society or school didn't take care of, start to cultivate that within, because that's going to help you have the self-worth that we see, in these two cards here. So I want you to step into this and be able to create anything and to thrive and to even be stubborn sometimes, right? Okay. We have the environmentally, by the way, this is good. This could be a decision just to go back to school. When I see Queen or King of Pentacles or any of the suit cards reversed, it's saying this is time to focus more on yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a nurturing way, to give back, to be your own sort of mom and dad, okay? That's all. All right, let's look at your opportunity card, which can sometimes be tempered by hopes and fears. Some of you just need a break. We have the Four of Swords card reversed, which usually says you're tired, or if you're sleeping, you're not feeling rested. And this is exactly what I was just talking about, kind of like cuddling up with the dog or watching some TV or, making some dinner for yourself and just relaxing. Do something really kind for yourself and be quiet and be still and enjoy that stillness tonight. Also, do you notice how the broken heart is now healed? And it almost feels like she's going to go out and see again. She's going to put her heart out into the world and go fishing and see if it's time, if there's something else that connects with it. So I see a healing heart. I see a need for sleep in order to get that sort of healing, but also just rest, personal rest. I know a lot of us may be still waiting to get back to work, especially for those of you that worked in restaurants, for instance, and other industries that have been disrupted by the pandemic. So you may be thinking, how can I rest? I've been resting. So it's almost like restlessness. That can be part of it. If it is restlessness, it's a lot of S's, then what you want to focus on is what else can I develop in my life? Maybe I want some alternate skills since this, this time off taught me that this maybe isn't everything that I want to do. That's going back into the toolkit, which I showed you with the Six of Wands, right? So if you're tired, I'm seeing some comments in the feed here. One of the important things to do is to breathe, is to move, and is to try new things. So shake up the energy a little bit. And even in your own living situation, maybe you decide to move the furniture around. Look at the energetic, feng shui of the place as well. Okay. Make and break a cycle with the Eight of Cups. For many of you, this could be a second chance, a chance to do something better. I also talked a little bit about this yesterday. There is some overlap between the two readings, but you have a slightly different interpretation of it. But what I was saying is that sometimes we aren't ready for something to happen. This is the particular piece for you. I said yesterday that you would be wiser and more prepared for something, so second chances. I would actually say this was always the moment that you were supposed to deal with it. So two things. If something didn't work before, it wasn't supposed to. On some way, shape, or form, you weren't ready or the other person wasn't ready. And if you were trying to connect, you might have just collided. This time around, you are ready and you're very, very open and understanding and you have this Queen of Pentacles energy. You're going to be able to develop this and go further. So what if everything's happening in exactly the right time? What if this was the moment and this was always what it was meant to be? So that's part of the Eight of Cups. The other piece of it is, if you're finished with something in your life, it's okay to move on. But you have to decide to sort of shut the door, because the Eight of Cups is the door half open. So if you're truly done with something, then make a decision. I'm finished with this. Say it. Be very explicit in it. Different note for those of you that are working through a breakup. There's a chance to smooth the edges, I guess, a little bit, because the Eight of Cups to me is a reconciliation or a coming back and saying, yeah, I'm sorry, or that could have ended a little bit better. So there is a chance there for some of you to smooth out the wrinkles. But some of you might just be holding on a little bit. And so I would encourage here for a clean and loving break if you need to do that. When I quit my corporate job, I really tried to make it about personal growth, not anything about the job. Yeah, sure, there were things that stressed me out, but it really wasn't that place. I always knew what I was getting into when I was there. So I decided on my own that I was ready to grow, explore, and embark on a new journey. And I knew that that was the antithesis, staying there, of me being able to be on the journey. That I needed to be just like this woman here in the Eight of Cups. I had to go on my own. There was kind of this openness. They're like, if you ever want to come back, you can. But in my heart, I knew, no, this is it. So the Eight of Cups can be as final as you want it to, but on its highest level, it can just mean that the bridge is open. So you can still communicate with people, you still exchange energy and wish them well, but you don't have to go back unless you want to, okay? So think about that, especially since we had a breakup card, the Three of Swords. Sometimes it is better to be away from that energy. It's just a question of if you've really sort of integrated the messages, right? Okay. Let's go into your expanded forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and then we'll do a quick review after that. In the messages of health, we have awakening presence. This card was reversed, but I like to read it upright so we can understand what it's saying here. So the universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. So it's interesting. This reminds me of when you practice yoga and meditate. Actually, it is good to wear a head wrap or to put on some sort of a protection. Even a bindi, for that matter, helps protect the third eye. So this is a very practical thing that I don't talk about a lot in meditation, but feel free to, you can use a cloth, you can use a hat. I have beanies, those work too. Usually the lighter the color, the better. White is perfect. So if you want to meditate and you're feeling vulnerable or not grounded or not safe in the meditation, wear a head wrap. And then you can also wear a bindi if you want to. Those are two very good things to do in meditation. Even in sleeping, if you want to wrap your head, you can do that. There's a lot of things that you can get on Amazon for that. So just interesting sidebar as I'm looking at the head wrap here. But the other thing here is this sort of love can be a really nice protection. It is a nice shield, because I had a great Reiki teacher that reminded me when I was going through a tough time. For those of you that are empathic and waking up, it can be scary because you feel a lot. Sometimes it's almost like you're a live wire. You can feel everything. So I went to her, I'm like, how do I close this off? She's like, oh, honey, no, that is not how you do it. She said, you need to actually open up more. She said you need to get all of the wheels moving in the right direction, like this. They go clockwise, get all your chakra systems open up. And she said, shine brighter. She said, the brighter you shine, the less these sort of low frequency energies are going to come in. She said, you'll die if you shut them off. Now, there are times where you can decide how much to connect with other people, but it really is about going higher and brighter vibrationally speaking. And she's right. The higher your vibration, the less the other stuff bothers you. It may still pop through, but you're going to actually be able to see it. That thing that happened on Instagram, I had a moment in my meditation the other morning when I saw like this shadow move through. I'm like, what was that? Now I know. So when you're intuitive, you can kind of pick up if there's going to be a challenge, if there's something kind of shady going around you. Like, so just raise your frequency so you can see more, and also so you push the unnecessary stuff away. Let me see here with awakening presence. So some of you might also just be receiving downloads if you're having a hard time sleeping or having nightmares. What I would say, first of all, I have an old video on my channel, but I can just give some practical advice right now. You should call in protection and set an intention before you go to sleep. If you like things like archangels, you could just ask for the protection of like Archangel Michael, and you can imagine that you trace the corners with light. Or you could see bars of light in all four corners, and then just imagine that they're filling in. So you see the sort of square of light around you. You can imagine that there's a big archangel wrapping its arms. And then you would set an intention that you only want to connect with the highest possible energy of love, of light, and God, or archangelic or higher. If you do this, you're going to sleep a lot better. And that will help you as you're awakening to only receive blessings during that sleep. Possibly even have healing or ascended masters come through as you're sleeping. Okay? So there you go. It's actually, this is a very psychic card that came through for some of you. So I must have some folks that are working on an intuitive development. We needed to talk a little bit about protecting your crown chakra and your third eye and your sleeping environment. The other things here as we just kind of look at the cards for some additional advice, emotional happiness and anything that you might be dealing with when it comes to, like, again, breaking up or feeling, maybe beating yourself up a little bit too, just focusing on heart happiness, also heart health. Sometimes when we're stressed, this part kind of gets pulled in. So look at your stress management, look at your blood pressure and your cholesterol. And if you have anything that's happening in the health arena, you need to go to a doctor. I'm just highlighting that the heart seems to be a little bit more vulnerable. So I've given you some metaphysical things that you can do for protection. And then if there's some physical things going on in this space, just go straight to a doctor and take care of that. You could move a little bit more because the Hierophant and the Queen, and all these queens are sitting down basically. And I want to see more of that. So obviously with the help of a doctor, you can figure out how much and when and where and what your body tells you, but it'd be a good time to move a little bit. That will also help with the sleep. And one thing that I've done, I like to take an occasional nap, especially on days that I do readings, but I try not to make it too long. And I definitely don't do it too much in the evening. So if you're going to take a nap, maybe an hour or something like that. But otherwise, just stay awake and then you'll go to bed at a natural time, like 8, 9, or 10. Okay. Try to have a consistent bedtime. Maybe tonight it's a little bit earlier because we have the 8 of Cups. Those are your health messages. When we look at wealth this month, we have another reversal, clear the air, distant thunder. This is the Tower reversed. So there is a change happening, the change of guard that I talked about. There could be also a decision that you don't want to do something. The cool thing here is the storm is distant. You see it coming. You have choice. When the Tower is reversed, sometimes it's as simple as speaking up. I mentioned needing to vent or to clear the air. This could avoid some sort of a pitfall, an emotional outburst or something. So it could just be an argument because the 10 of Swords is spilled words or spilled thoughts. So maybe just clear the air and that will go away. But for some of you, because this is a pretty big energy that I see with this, I feel like it's time to take action. The distant thunder is your intuitive download saying it's time. The Tower reverse, because we're looking at I'm interpreting, she's in a turret in a tower, and I'm seeing this potentially as another tower. It's time to just move on. The Tower reverse is actually quite empowered. A Tower reverse moment can be a decision that you have to go in and say, I want to transfer from this division to another. I want to move from this country to another. I want to divorce, or I want to engage, or something like that. It's basically a decision to take yourself from one thing and go somewhere else. So I want you to really step into that moment of empowerment where you decide, I'm not going to wait for the storm to come. I'm going to get ahead of the storm and prepare for it. It's like battening up the hatches or, putting board on the windows or whatever, just making sure that everything's okay. All right. So those are that. Be proactive. That would be if I had to kind of underline and come up with a single card, it would be proactivity. I really feel good about your financial cards here because we have the wheel here. So for some of you, it might be untapped potential. Maybe you're in a situation where people are just used to taking more than they give. And this is the moment to step into that because you've got it. Sagittarius, you have it. So find a place where someone will admire, support, and reward that worth because it's certainly there. And maybe you're going to do it on your own. I know that's not an easy decision to make, but you have a lot of queen cards coming through. So if you want to, you can do this on your own. It's just sometimes we need help. So you might need like a project manager or someone to kind of boss you around a little bit to be successful on that. Sometimes if you're more of the idea person and you need someone to help keep you accountable, that could be part of it. But I like what I see. And some of this also might just be being organized and making those decisions, because even though we didn't see the Six of Pentacles in the cards, I'm psychically picking up on it, which is weighing decisions, making choices, etc. That makes sense for you. All right, let's move along to love and relationships. We have across the waters here. So for some of you, you may just really miss connecting with people that you love. It doesn't have to literally mean like across the pond that they're on another continent. We've been separated from a lot of people that we love for a long time. I know even here in my city that I live in Southern California, I haven't seen some of my friends for, 13, 14 months because it's just still not safe. I don't have my shot, etc. So some of this is bridging the gap. I do that with the Zoom calls and FaceTime, and then you can pick a pod and have some people that you do trust and all of that. The other thing is, if you're looking for love or looking for opportunity, because to me, relationships is not just work. It's not just love. It can also be work and opportunity. This is looking beyond your shores. This could be that there's someone new coming into your life from further away, or even there could be a kind of karmic or cosmic connection to this partner as well. So you're calling them in, because I look at this, it's very sort of, it's very metaphysical. It's very sort of in your vision space, but not necessarily right here in the physical just yet. So keep working on that, keep calling that in, keep working on yourself, because ultimately you're the magnet that calls in the partner, and the partner is a mirror of the work that you've done on yourself. That's actually a very important little piece that came through. So you're the magnet that calls in the partner's a mirror of the work that you've done on yourself. If you don't like the person, focus on yourself. Stop getting angry at the person and ask yourself, why did I call that person in? And then dismiss the person if you need to. So it's never really about them. It's always really about internally what you're working on, which is why I like to remind people this can all be applied to love if you want to, because you're working on yourself and it's going to help you with those relationships. I just couldn't imagine only focusing on that. But now we're going to look a little bit at love, and there's a lot of people coming through for you, Sagittarius. Let's look at it. I'm going to look at it as I'm really going to use the Celtic Cross to kind of define it. So to me, this really represents you, the Queen of Wands. Some of you are very much in your own headspace. It looks like you're working. These come much more as workers to me, worker bees, or family members or friends. It feels like there's a lot of buzzing around you. There's a lot of activity. People are kind of communicating in different ways. This is a very demonstrative and this is a very verbal. But the thing is, I don't see either one focusing on you. There's a lot of decks where you see the person looking forward. These people are busy. So one of your jobs is kind of like conducting and getting people to pay attention to you. So for the non-romantic relationships in your life and for the practical sort of relationships in your life, it's making sure that you're all listening. Because if we were to pull all of these together, hopefully I can remember all the order here. Nobody's looking at each other. They're all kind of in their own world, right? So as beautiful as they are, that's not very productive. So get everyone on the same page. As we look in the environment, which to me would read partner, we have the Queen of Pentacles. I actually think this is a nice marriage of two energies. This is nurturing. This is very strong and, again, sometimes stubborn, but definitely there's this great ability to create, to hold space. I like all of this. But what I would say with the two of these reversed, this person isn't listening, and this person is focusing more on internal work or focusing on themselves. So you need to meet in the middle, and you need to be able to see each other. So It feels like timing is off a little bit, whether it's a brand new relationship or an existing relationship, the closest one to you. I would say the thing that you need to focus on is both of you getting out of your mental fog just a little bit. Some of that can be accomplished through sleeping and resting. Some of you aren't quite ready. If you've gotten through a breakup, give yourself some time. May not be time just yet to rebound, 3 to 4 months, right? Give yourself some time before the heart is healed, before you get into the next big thing. Really think twice before going back to somebody. It's good to end on an amicable note, but make sure that you've learned all those lessons and let go. And again, there may be a proposal or a contract in front of you. It has to feel right. Okay. If you're looking to start a family, not a bad time actually with the Queen of Pentacles. This is a very good card for fertility. The only thing that I see here is that stress can definitely affect that. So making sure that you're getting enough sleep and giving yourself time and calling in that soul, really focusing on what it is that you want to create. We have in your final card, a beautiful Gaia-based sort of Mother Earth here. Feel loved and comforted. But this is super divine feminine. And this would definitely be great for anybody that's trying to get pregnant or to create something in their life. Intention's so important. There is something, I'm talking a lot about yoga because I saw an old friend in chat, but when we were going through a lot of the classes and back when you could actually go in person and take classes, I remember that there's a special meditation that you can do for expecting moms to help sort of like bless the soul that's coming into the body. I've used that same approach in different parts of my life. When I called in this puppy into my life, I kind of reached out into the cosmos and said, this is what I'm looking for, help me find it. You can do that same thing in your life when you're creating something. If you're trying to find the right person, like for representation, if you're trying to find an agent or a tax person or a manager, you could just kind of put out there and say, this is what, or an apartment, whatever you're trying to manifest, really see it, send it out into the universe, release it, and then trust that it's going to come to you, that you can welcome that in, okay? So divine feminine energy is available to everyone, whether you identify as male or female, it does not matter. So I hope I've touched on that, and I hope that that makes sense. I feel really good about your capacity to grow overall. Grow your money, grow your emotional strength, grow your intuition, grow full stop. Okay, really, really cool. And Elizabeth, who I used to go to class with, mentioned Adi Shakti meditation is key. So you can Google that if you'd like to. All right, let's go ahead now and quickly review everything, and then we're going to go into the soul path. I want to look at things like the healing of the Three of Swords, and we'll look at some other things as well. So let's do just that. If you just joined, it's perfect timing. I'm going to go through everything in about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we're going to get into the next phase here. So the main spirit totem that came through was the camel. He cheered me up because camels kind of have this goofy look on their face, but they have a lot of really cool things, which makes sense for your sign today. So first things first, you have the ability to adapt to any situation. You can thrive even during a difficult period or situation because kind of like that Six of Wands card, you have to go into the toolkit and look at new things. Be resourceful. Like the Six of Pentacles, you have exactly what you need. It just requires a little bit of discipline, which the Queen of Wands and the Hierophant definitely are capable of. So just be more disciplined. You may not have everything that you want yet. Notice that I put that in parentheses because we always want to leave room for that. But you do have what you need to create that in the long run. That's why we have the Wheel of Fortune here in the deep past. Delegate, say no, say yes when you need to, but only do it if there is some sort of a reciprocity coming back. You don't have to shoulder the entire responsibility, and there should be a return on the energetic investment. Stubbornness has a time and a place. I should just say, choose when and where to be stubborn, and then try to have a laugh occasionally and keep an open mind, because when you open your mind, that's when the epiphanies come through. That's when the shifts of consciousness happen. Take a moment to get a sense of where you are and what you want to be. This was something I added at the last minute, which I like. Because if you don't know how you got there, if you don't know where you're at and you don't know where you're going, then you're just like a pinball or a tumbleweed. You're just kind of going around. So really get your bearings. Promote from within an existing group, and also choose a leader that understands what's going on. So In a family, this could be just as easy as passing the baton on, especially if you're getting older and you want to make sure that someone there can step up and be the go-to person. In a business, this is literally saying, try not to hire from outside of the company. There's someone that's very capable within. And any sort of situation where there's serious talking that needs to happen, you've got to check in emotionally with the other person and see if they're ready to receive it or if they're dealing with a lot, right? Release the need to do everything by the books. All right, I could also say in a certain amount of time. You have to have fun first. You also have to pay attention to how done something is, which we talked about it, finished, how completed it is. Provide a channel to voice concerns and vent. Most importantly, listen. And if you can't do this, then things kind of just build up. And then instead of having this distant thunder, you have like lightning in your right in front of you, right? So let's try to keep it to the distant thunder and then talk about it before it gets big. Be the first one to go out on a limb and share something that is either creative or a critique, idea or a critique, because other people probably feel the same way, but may lack that confidence or articulation that you have, the ability to sort of speak up and say what you need to. Like baking in general, don't rush something if it's not done, because in the case of a cake, it's just going to collapse. It's going to be mushy. Cookies, same sort of thing. You're not going to be able to eat them. They'll be raw. You'll get sick. So take your time. You only get one chance to really make that first impression. So make it count. This is a chance for a changing of the guard and a changing of your mind. It's time for new vision and new ideas. Break through, break out, breaking out of those old habits. And that's why the 8 of Cups was up here. And then finally, don't overthink things. This is so important to your intuitive ability. Channel, receive, and then evaluate as you start to get additional insight. But you don't want to keep editing as it comes out of your brain and goes onto the paper. Just get it recorded first and then figure it out. Your divine agent of change and inspiration. What are you doing right now that inspires you? If you're not inspired, why aren't you inspired? What, if not now, then when? I like to ask that a lot. This is the time, this is the place. We have this reminder here of devotion and that dreams can be fulfilled. So again, are you devoted to something that you really truly feel connected to? And if you're not, why not? Pay attention to your dreams and follow them. You should be working and doing something that feels like it's kind of on that same energetic level. If we don't see a sort of overlap between the dreams and the practical and the everyday, then it just feels like you're going through the motions, right? There's a time and a place to hold your ground and be stubborn. So do it if you need to. I would want to have her on my side if I needed someone to advocate for me. But then there are other times where you might be closing out an opportunity. One of the challenges this month is everybody seems to be in their own world here as I'm looking at the core group. Take action and pass things on and let go of things. You have done the work. The main question is, are you ready to receive the rewards? And are you ready to receive the next big thing? Because it feels like you are, but there might be sort of like an emotional block that could be holding some of you back from making that happen sooner. Open your mind, and maybe it's time to step out of a very rigid group or way of thinking in order to break through. For some of you, that could mean a little bit of mourning or sadness here with the 3 of Swords. But I like to see the 3 of Swords reversed as a chance to get back to being whole again. And that's what's happening here. Give yourself some time, at least a month, probably 2 or 3, to get back into a space where you're ready to connect again with people, romantically, especially. The 10 of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, an offer for sure. But for some of you, you want to spend more time and energy on yourself. There could also be someone pulling or tugging you away from something that you want to do. This is where I'm okay with Queen of Wands saying, nope, this is who I am. This is where I want to be. And then, you'll be in a good space. The Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles are compatible, but when they're reversed, they're not in their most elevated forms. I actually like it if I see 2 queens and 2 kings, because I don't read gender. I read sort of like power, and I see readiness, and I see similarities. So I like to see 2 queens, but I don't like it when they're kind of focusing on different things. This one is not listening. This one's focusing on themselves. So it feels like timing's off. So you're going to have to be patient in existing relationships. And if you're trying to date someone new, I would say focus more on getting stuff done, getting where you need to be first, because it'll just be tricky. Sleep is important. I would say the other thing here is just doing something for yourself. Nurturing yourself is important. you're going to be able to move on. You're going to be able to do so with leaving an open door. Just because the door is open, though, doesn't mean you have to go back through it. It just is a nice, clean energy if you want it to be. Some messages about protecting yourself during meditation, wearing a head wrap, wearing a bindi, grounding yourself. You can also use a grounding stone if you would like to. Just practical things. Again, with sleep, doing the same thing, blessing the space and setting the intention for what you receive. All of those things make sense. You have an awakening happening with health. So for some of you, if you feel something going on in your body, do something about it. Try to talk to a doctor if you need to, or work on changing habits in your life, eating better, going for healing if you want to, etc. Basically take care of you and pay attention to that. And then heart health is so important, whether it's emotional heart or if we're looking actually at the legitimate heart itself. If there's some stress going on there, in that case, go to a doctor. For wealth, clear the air. Open communication and venting, which was something that I highlighted. Tower reverse, which I see is very powerful. It's a chance for you to take the reins and do something that you need to do. Be first. I don't think I said that enough in the time I was reviewing the cards there, but don't be afraid to step up to the plate and be the first one to say something. Distance and being distant. Sometimes you can be in the same room, but be distant. That's one thing that I'm seeing as a challenge in relationships this month. I do see a potential, if you're looking for love, to meet someone, but I see timing being off a little bit. So don't rush it. Don't force it. If you're in relationships, you have to clear and clean the air a little bit too, because right between these two queens is the Three of Swords. So we want to cut through some of the codependencies, and we want to give a little bit of time and space and then maybe come back. So there could be a reconciliation happening for some of you, or a decision that enough is enough. It does feel like it's a cleanup month overall with relationships, not so much looking for new ones. You might have financial ones that are popping in, but not as much in the love realm. It's more about taking care of yourself, because ultimately you should be focusing on creation, development, expansion. That's why we have Mother Earth coming through. Okay, so let's move on to the next phase, which is going to be the soul path. I want to look a little bit at the Three of Swords. I like to sometimes go into the tricky cards and see how we can demystify it. So let's look at the Three of Swords and see where there are opportunities to heal, to grow, and to move. King of Wands. Okay, interesting. So with the King of Wands, I actually really like this king because he's very gentle and a little bit casual here. Leadership sometimes is, we don't have the best examples, do we? I think a really strong leader can be a person that is at ease with themselves, that understands that power is not, if you have to say you're powerful, you're probably not as powerful as you think. If you have to show and show off that power or that authority, probably is, again, overcompensation. So to be a good leader and to lead well in your life, feel it, know it, walk it, but you don't have to say it and you don't have to show it. You kind of embody it, right? So embodying the true you and waiting for your fellow king or queen to kind of step in and observe that. So you already are the King of Wands. Again, don't look at gender, just look at the fact that this is at the top of the court. So basically what I see for you is understanding that you've earned this moment in time, whatever it is. And you should sit in it with dignity, with gratitude, and with a feeling of control and power, and it can be gentle power. I hope that helps. So that's the main message with that. If you need to do something, you may have to do it yourself. This is the ultimate boss card. It really is. This is like CEO energy or entrepreneur energy, or I've had enough and I need to say this sort of energy, where you really need to sort of stand up and let something be heard and seen and take control. But you can do it ultimately, okay? I like that the fire on this is actually his crown. Is that cool? So anyway, I like what I see here, and I hope that you're willing and ready to kind of step into your power this month. That feels like this is the main thing here. If there's anyone that's been holding you back from stepping into that power, I think that that's really what this is showing you, is that you can't do that anymore. He even has like a little gecko on his shirt, which is another power symbol. So this is your time to shine. This is your time to follow your passion. Let's do it, right? I'm very curious about the Four of Swords, because I think it really, for some of you, has to do with impatience. So how can you either be more patient with the moment, or why are you feeling triggered right now? Page of Pentacles in reverse. Interesting. Okay. So for some of you, there is this feeling of readiness and worthiness, which I talked a little bit about yesterday, but pages give and receive. So for some of you, in the past, it feels like you haven't been the recipient enough, perhaps, of gratitude, of abundance, of appreciation, of support. So this page is coming in and saying, but it's here. Don't you want it? Aren't you ready? If you can feel that sort of sense of, I paid my dues, and yes, I'm ready to focus on personal development. I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to step through this portal and see what happens. Fantastic. For those of you that are waiting for something, the Four of Pentacles can be that, or sorry, the Four of Swords can be a very, like restless card. This is saying, yeah, you might have to actually do it yourself, or follow up more than you want. I was doing a private coaching session recently for someone who just didn't want to send out job applications, but was expecting to be able to manifest it. I said, you could possibly do it, but it's going to be a lot more effective if you send an email, or if you pick up the phone, or if you talk to someone. So, and even my old yoga teacher, she talked about someone who sat on the couch and said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing the meditation to bring work in all the time. You've got to actually step forward. So for some of us, I know I've had situations like around 9/11 where I think I probably sent out hundreds of resumes and there was nothing happening. Part of the reason was I was applying in the wrong industries and I was supposed to move. So what I had to look at, I moved to a different state, and that changed everything. So sometimes it requires a change of location. And then I went into more, at the time, entertainment-based work. So I realized, okay, I need to move into this industry. My industry is not working anymore. I have to do this. And it was weird, but it worked. And it was something that for another 15 years was very good. So sometimes we have to kind of reinvent ourselves. So to me, this is what we were talking about, that changing of the guard. It can be up here, it can be in here. And so for some of you, you have to kind of let the old protection go and think, well, I'll be okay. I'll be able to start again if I have to, because you will, because we see the Wheel of Fortune here in the deep past. All right, now we're going to do a wild card. I'm going to do another one later. So by the way, if I didn't answer anything, it's okay. There'll be one more that we'll look at the very end. But first, let's do a wild card and see if there's anything else you need to be focusing on. Thank you, everybody, so much for the super chats. This is the way that you can support me. Whoever was doing that crazy stuff on Instagram, that's not the way. This is it. All right. What does Sagittarius need to focus on? All right, we got it. The Six of Pentacles. That's what I was saying. I could feel it the whole time. So we have the Six of Pentacles, which I psychically felt, and now it's here. Pick and choose. This is a very abstract Six of Pentacles. The card was reversed, which is a reminder you can't be everything for everyone. You can't do everything for everyone. You have exactly what you need. There might be some juggling, and this is something that's kind of cool with this. It has a little bit of the energy of the Two of Pentacles, which is sometimes like a juggler. So you may have to take something from here and put it here. You might have to put something here. You might have to say no to this right now, but maybe tomorrow. It is about prioritization and a little bit of juggling. So I'm enjoying the different interpretation of that here. So juggle, prioritize, do a little bit of triage when it comes to like, I can only do this today, not this. Whatever you have to take care of, do it. You'll be fine. This is the bare minimum that I look for success. So you've got it. When you look at the lower, aces are great. Of course, that's an opportunity. But the two requires a sacrifice. Two of Pentacles, you have to give something up to do something. Three of Pentacles is great, actually, but it's usually not about money. It's usually about recognition. Four of Pentacles, you're holding back. Five of Pentacles, you're breaking even. And the six is when I start to see things headed in the right direction. So for business, I want to see 6, 8, 9, or 10. 7, not so much, because there can be debt sometimes, or there can be a test. But the 6 is good. You can do it. Keep investing in yourself. Keep making smart choices. Don't overdo things. And I think you're in a really good place. In relationships, this is about having the other partner do their part too. So it should be 50-50, not 60-40, not 70-30, or don't force me to do any more math. But Basically, there needs to be more balance. There can be times where the scales are flipped, but it can't always be flipped that way. So balance over time, an average over time, right? So before we get into the meditation, which, by the way, today I feel like I want to help you with cord cutting. So I'm gonna write a couple of these things down. So we'll work on cord cutting, and we're gonna put a little shield around you because we've got the shielding message. So we're gonna cord cut, we're gonna shield, and anything else that I feel like. And then I'm just gonna try to bring a sense of balance or grounding. All right, so just so I can think about it while I'm doing the guided meditation. So we'll do that in just a second. Before I get into that, I just wanna give you some legitimate ways to contact me, since people on Instagram today were suggesting otherwise. The only way to send me a message, the only way that I will contact you, is if you contact me through my official website, nicholasashbaugh.com. There is a contact area where you can send a form if there's something going on the website, like the person that was impersonating me, or if there's a question for collaboration or something else. That's it. If you're getting direct messages from me, that is not me. Unless you sent me something first to an official account and I'm like, yeah, I see the person, thank you. I don't correspond with people directly. So I just want to say this on a public forum so you all know that. If you want to support me, you can do it this way. If you want to book a reading, you can go to my website. There's very limited availability right now. So this is the best way to show up. And you can go to my website, and there's also a patron area there where you can support me in different ways, through Patreon, through PayPal, or through, I think that's pretty much it. Or you can do it here through the super chat. The other way that you can show support is through the applaud button. So again, ignore people that say to me that are interacting with you. I'm here, I'm live, this is it. So unless you're on my channel, that's not it. The official username for me, super important. There are no modifications to this. It is my first name, my last name, no spaces, no underscores. This person just keeps putting underscores at the end. It's at Nicholas Ashbaugh. I have a verified check mark on Facebook. I have a verified gray check mark here on YouTube. I'm trying to get one on Instagram, but it's always my name. If it's a transmuted version of my name and they're saying, oh, it's my backup account, it is not me. These are me. This is it. Okay. And then when in doubt, go to my website, click on the social links, and go to it from there. Twitter is the only one where I don't have my name because they don't have enough characters. So it's Ashbaugh. Okay. And that is that. I felt like I needed to go into it today. One way that you can show support that requires nothing but a little bit of love and a couple of clicks is to hit the thumb up or the subscribe button. And that way you can help others discover it. So if you're having limited resources or just want to show up and say thank you, that is a super easy way to do it. Hit the thumb up, hit the subscribe button, and later when it's on replay, you can say something nice in the comments. This helps with discoverability, and I just want to say thanks. Let's get into the fun stuff. Let's meditate. As I'm looking at the cards, let's see. We did a daytime meditation yesterday. I feel like an evening one would be nice because we have the Four of Swords here. So let's imagine that it's just after the sun is set. It's dusk. So you can see that the sky is actually not super dark. It's that sort of midnight blue. There's sort of like this bluish color, and right around the perimeter, there's almost this little sliver of light as the sun is still fading on the horizon. Above you, you can start to see some of the brightest constellations. You can see, the North Star. You can see the Little and Big Dipper. You can see some of the constellations you would always see, including some of the planets too, like Mars or Venus or etc. So see all of the stars starting to shine in the night sky, and I want you to imagine now that you could create a ring of light around you, just like the ring on the horizon. So let's take your hands, rub them together, take a nice deep breath, and on the exhale, you can just stretch out a little bit. It's okay if you can't reach all the way back. Just kind of move around a little bit and spread the light around you. Wrap it around and imagine that you're creating a perfect circle. If you can reach, that's fine, but not. Just see a circle of light starting to form around your body. And I want you to continue to breathe, and this light can take on whatever color you want. I think that it would be really good, since we're dealing with healing, to have it either be green or rose. Rose is a nice gentle color. Green is the color of the heart. It's the color of abundance. So if you'd like to, you can start to wrap yourself with this colored energy. Imagine just like a kind of cocoon. You're going to wrap this around your body gently, and it feels soft. You can push in and out of it if you want to, but nothing can get in. It's basically your protection. And once you've created this shield of light and energy, I want you to go into your heart space, because we're going to work with that first. And you can put your hands on your heart for a second if you would like, and feel it beating. Feel how your chest raises and then lowers as you take each breath. And I want you to imagine that you're going to turn on that light, just like that old movie, E.T., but in this case, it's going to be green. You're going to see this beautiful light start to radiate out from within. And it's warm, it's loving, it's gentle, and it starts to melt away any of these threads that are connecting it that might exist. It's starting to go through those cords. You can imagine cords in any sort of visualization that you would like, but I've seen them before, not necessarily as like a channel, but they're almost like these chains, like these little tiny chains that group up and connect. So what you could imagine is, as you start to breathe light in your body and through these chains of light, what happens is you're going to push the light through these channels to the point that you will return any energy from that other person, and you're going to retrieve the energy from them that they might be holding on from you. And then the channel starts to light up so much that it just melts. The cords don't exist anymore because the light's so bright that it's not this sort of weird kind of drinking energy that would happen sometimes when people cord you. So you're going to just evaporate the unnecessary connections. If there's someone in your life that you truly love and want to stay connected to, you can imagine a beautiful, crystalline, clear channel through the heart that's white and bright, just like the sun, connecting you. And in fact, as you start to open up and feel your heart get lighter and brighter, your other chakra systems start to open up. Let's begin with the root chakra. So imagine yourself sitting against a tree, feeling the support against your back, and really at the seat of your spine, right at the bottom, your tailbone. I want you to focus on feeling that you are absolutely connected to the ground, and trace the energy of the tree for a second into the ground, and imagine you could go past it into the warmth and the radiance that is at the center of this planet, that magma core. So you have this light source now that you can tap into. Let's bring that brilliant light up through the root chakra. And I want you to think to yourself, I am safe, I am ready, I am strong. Pull that into the sexual chakra, the creative chakra, and I want you to feel like you can express yourself now. See that light up as well. So we have red, and then we have orange, and going into the belly, we have this beautiful yellow color, which is a lot like the sun, which is why it's the solar plexus. And I want you in this moment to say, I feel powerful, ready, and I am able to take anything that happens or bring on any opportunity that comes my way. Bring that through the heart with the color that we've been working with now, and see growth, fertility, and expansion on all horizons, which we saw also in this Mother Earth card. Bringing it up into the throat, beautiful color, blue. Blue is the sky right before the sunset. And even as you kind of go up into the third eye, somewhere between there, that's really looking like dusk. So you have this beautiful color of communication, of perception, indigo, and I'm sorry, violet now going up into the final chakra. And now as all of these light up, it turns into bright white light. Just, you are now as bright as the brightest sun in the universe. And all of them are coming together and creating interlocking circles in all directions until you're just this bright ball of light. The shield is up, the cords have been cut, the grounding has taken place, you are whole. I'm going to play the singing bowl for about a minute or two, and then we're going to come back, and I want you to hold with you a question that you might have in your mind's eye. Think about something that you're needing help with, whether it's direction, whether it's something very specific. And I'll pull a final card to give you some advice on how you can approach that question. So as I play this bowl, just see your light growing and reach out. Imagine that you could take these rays of light that you have and reach towards the goals, reach towards even the obstacles and push through them. See yourself pushing out. And just like a sun could do, see yourself being able to bring things into your orbit as well. All right? Close your eyes, relax, and just receive. Take a deep breath. Stretch up a little bit if you'd like to. Let go of any tightness that you might be holding on to. Relax. Allow your body just to fall into place, just like a feather, feeling that your shoulders are lighter, that the burden that you're carrying is no longer as heavy as it once was, or it may be completely gone altogether. Feel a brightness and a lightness that you haven't felt perhaps in weeks, days, or years. Hold that energy in you now and always, and feel that you can continue to shine your heart light and shine all of this brilliant energy that we've been working on to illuminate opportunities, to see the truth of things, and to maintain that balance that may have been lacking before. Keeping your eyes closed, think of your question that you have for me. What is it that you need a little bit more insight on? Just keep your eyes closed. Let me shuffle the cards and let's see what comes through. Thanks for sticking around a few extra moments. I wanted to give back to you guys since I started a little later. Okay, I have one that flew out, but I'm going to pull a second one real quick. So you get a bonus. Okay, so the one that made itself known was the Knight of Wands. One of my favorite Knight of Wands, first of all, because it goes against the traditional gender on the card. So we have a beautiful woman here marching to the beat of her own drum, or drumming to her own beat, which I really like here. So this isn't about someone that's trying to fit in. This is about someone who knows who they are, who is calling in people who resonate with that frequency, and who's having a lot of fun. Do you see? I picked this deck today, even though I'd used it once already, because of the joy and the energy in it. So there's this joyous movement that I see with the Knight of Wands. So could you please try to pull that into your life, whatever's going on? Joyous movement, higher energy. And it even looks like she has the Four of Wands around her, even though this is the Knight of Wands here. So, I mean, she does, I can see it. So for some of you, you are calling in a higher partnership, partner, or it's a very attractive energy where you can pull in new people that want to be true friends. So I like this. So you're on the right path, but it might mean making your own drum beat, doing your own thing, having your own voice. And then we have the Ace of Swords reversed, which is speaking your mind. I love that we see sort of this spiral staircase going into her head. And it also reminds me a little bit of like ram, kind of coiled up horns. But with the reversal of this, it is really now, it's time to take action. It's time to say something. So being direct, okay? So this one is telling me, be yourself. This is saying be direct. This is showing me that true friends, true people that love and understand you are going to step into this authenticity, and that authenticity is very attractive, okay? But movement overall, we've got a lot of Knight cards, Knights and Pages all over the place. A lot of Court cards too. So I see a lot of movement happening for you. Don't get lost in the shuffle. Whenever I see a ton of Court cards, there's a reminder to know yourself and to not try to please everyone, okay? That's really everything for today. And I already kind of went through all the ways to contact me. So I just want to say to everyone that was that showed up, that stuck around, that was patient as I began, thank you for showing up. To everyone that was alerting me to what was going on with Instagram, thank you as well. And to anyone that was affected by that, sorry. While you're here, before you click off, please hit the like button, please subscribe. And if you want to get notifications, you can opt in there. I don't put this message out that much, but I also have a newsletter. So let me give you a link to that. I send this out once a month, and it's a great way to stay in touch. It's also on that social link that they just put through there. So if you ever want to sign up for my newsletter, you can get some more information as well. And I'd love to have you join me. In the meantime, thank you, Dakota and Maria, for sticking around for an extra while. This was longer than usual. And thanks everyone else for being patient. This morning was a little bit discombobulating as I was dealing with technical issues with Instagram. So gave you a little extra, much love and light. I'll be back again on Sunday and Monday. And I may do a fireside chat soon on Instagram just to kind of meet up and talk to everybody. So follow me there if you haven't already. And just to kind of clear it up, there's only one, they've already put it out. You can see it. It's on the social link, so you can click there to get the Instagram. Take care, everyone. Thanks again. Lots of love. We'll talk soon. Have a great month ahead as well. Okay, bye-bye. Oh, by the way, well,